The dinner table in Accra looked like something from a magazine. Crystal glasses caught the light. The food was rich and colorful, and soft music played in the background. Everyone was relaxed, laughing, enjoying the night. Kojo leaned back in his chair, smiling, feeling proud that the whole family was together like this. He turned to his grandmother with a teasing grin. "Mama Abina," he said lightly, "so tell me, are you enjoying the $8,000 a month? Or is it still not enough for you?" He laughed, expecting her to laugh too. A few people chuckled, thinking it was just another joke. But Mama Abina didn't laugh. She blinked slowly and looked at him, her smile fading. $8,000, she repeated softly, like she was trying to understand the words. "My son, what money is that?" The room went quiet. Forks paused in midair. Someone cleared their throat. Kojo straightened in his seat, confused now. "The money for you, Mama," he said gently. "The monthly support. The one from the trust." Mama Abina shook her head, almost embarrassed. "Yai. I don't receive any money like that," she said. "I live on what little I have. Sometimes I manage, sometimes I don't. But 8,000. She gave a small, unsure laugh. "No, my dear." The silence became heavy, like the air had suddenly thickened. Eyes slowly turned toward Kwame at the head of the table. His smile was gone. His face had lost its color. Kojo felt a tight knot form in his chest. What was meant to be a joke now hung in the room like a question no one wanted to answer. In that moment something shifted. The laughter was gone, replaced by a quiet fear that this dinner had just uncovered a truth too big to ignore. Before that dinner in Accra, Mama Abina's life was very different. If you visited her in Cape Coast, you wouldn't see luxury or comfort. You would see a small, quiet house near the sea, with peeling paint and old curtains that moved with the breeze. She woke up early every morning, even though no one asked her to. Habit had become her clock. She cooked simple food. Sometimes it was just porridge. Sometimes boiled yam with a little salt. On days when money was tight, she told herself she wasn't really hungry. She would drink water, sit by the window, and wait for the feeling to pass. She never called it skipping meals. In her mind it was discipline, strength, pride. Mama Abina truly believed her son Kwame was struggling. Every time he spoke to her on the phone, he sounded busy, tired, stressed. "Things are hard these days, Ma," he would say. She believed him without question. A mother doesn't doubt her child like that. Instead, she tried to help in her own small way. When Kwame sent a little money, she thanked him like it was a gift from heaven. If he didn't send anything for months, she didn't ask. She told herself he has children. He has responsibilities. Can manage. And somehow she always did. Her neighbors often asked why she didn't move in with her son in Accra. "Your son is doing well," they said. "Why are you living like this?" Mama Abina would smile and shake her head. "Ah, my son is trying," she would reply. "I don't want to be a burden." That word meant everything to her. Burden. She feared it more than hunger. She wore the same few dresses again and again, washing them carefully so they would last. Her slippers were worn thin, but she kept them anyway. When the roof leaked during the rainy season, she placed bowls on the floor and laughed it off. "It will stop soon," she said, even when it didn't. At night, she sat alone, listening to the sound of the ocean in the distance. She thought about her past, about raising Kwame by herself after his father died. The long days of selling goods, the tired feet, the prayers whispered in the dark. She told herself it was all worth it because her son had grown up and was now taking care of the family. Sometimes, when the loneliness felt heavy, she would speak to God softly. Not to complain. Never to complain. She only asked for strength. Strength to wake up tomorrow. Strength to not need anyone. She was proud of her silence. Proud of her patience. Proud that she asked for nothing and expected even less. Mama Abina didn't know that her quiet life was built on a lie. She didn't know that money meant for her comfort was moving through other hands. All she knew was that she was a mother who had done her part, and a woman who believed love meant enduring quietly. Kwame had always been the one who spoke the loudest in the family. When there was a decision to make, people naturally looked at him. He liked that feeling. It made him feel important, respected, in control. From the outside, he looked like a good son, responsible, confident, and always handling things. When it came to Mama Abina, Kwame made sure everyone knew he was taking care of her. "My mother doesn't understand these modern systems," he would say. "Banks, documents, investments, it's too much for her. Let me handle it. It's for her own good." People nodded. Sounded reasonable. Sounded loving. Mama Abina trusted him completely. This was the boy she carried on her back, the child she fed before feeding herself. If Kwame said, "Sign here, Ma," she signed. If he said, "Don't worry about this paper," she didn't worry. She never asked to see bank statements. She never asked questions. In her mind, trust was not something you checked. It was something you gave. Kwame controlled everything. The accounts, the messages, the calls. If someone tried to talk directly to Mama Abina about money, Kwame stepped in quickly. "I'll explain it to her," he said. No need to confuse her. Slowly, without anyone noticing, he became the gatekeeper to her life. He often spoke about sacrifice, about how hard it was to manage everything alone. "You know how expensive life is," he told his wife, his friends, even his children. "I carry this family on my shoulders." Those words made him look like a hero. No one asked what carrying the family really meant. To Mama Abina, Kwame was still the little boy who once cried when he fell and ran to her for comfort. She remembered his hunger, his tears, his dreams. So when he said, "Ma, trust me," she did, without fear, without doubt. Sometimes, a small worry tried to rise in her chest, like when paperwork came with too many pages, or when his tone became sharp if she asked a simple question. But she pushed those thoughts away. A good mother doesn't suspect her son. A good mother stays quiet and grateful. Kwame liked that silence. It made things easier. He could move money without explanation. He could make decisions without permission. He told himself he deserved it. After all, hadn't he worked hard? Hadn't he taken care of her all these years? What Kwame never considered was that trust, once broken, cannot be explained away. Mama Abina didn't know it yet, but the same hands she placed her faith in were slowly closing around her future, and calling it protection. Kojo was still trying to understand what he had just heard. His grandmother's confused face would not leave his mind. The words "I don't receive any money like that" kept repeating in his head. He slowly put his glass down and leaned forward, his voice calm but serious now. "Mama," he said gently, "the money I'm talking about is real. I know it is because I approved it myself." Everyone at the table went still. Kojo wasn't joking anymore. "Years ago, a trust was set up for you. It was meant to make sure you live comfortably. $8,000 every month. That money has been going out regularly." Mama Abina stared at him, her hands trembling slightly. "My son," she said quietly, "I swear to you I have never seen that money. Not even once." Her voice didn't shake with anger, shook with truth. Kojo felt his chest tighten. "Not a single month?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "No. I live how you have seen me live. Sometimes I manage. Sometimes I don't. But no one gives me that kind of money." A heavy silence fell over the table. Slowly, Kojo turned his head toward Kwame. His father's face had changed. The confident man who controlled every conversation now looked small. His lips were dry. His eyes avoided everyone's gaze. Kojo continued, his voice steady but firm. "The records show the money was sent every month. For years. It didn't stop. Didn't delay. It went somewhere." He paused. "Mama, who handles your finances?" Mama Abina didn't hesitate. "Kwame," she said. "My son does everything for me. I trust him." Those words hit harder than any accusation. Kwame swallowed hard. "There must be a mistake," he said quickly. "Banks make errors. You know these systems." Kojo lifted his hand, stopping him. "These aren't bank errors," he said quietly. "These are verified transfers. Proved, cleared, signed for." His voice cracked just a little. "This money was meant to give my grandmother peace." Mama Abina looked around the table, finally understanding that something was very wrong. Her eyes filled with tears, not from shock but from shame. "I never wanted to ask for anything," she whispered. "I thought you were all struggling. I didn't want to be a burden." Kwame's face went pale. The room felt tight, like it was running out of air. No one spoke. No one defended him. The truth had landed, and it was too heavy to move. In that moment, Kojo realized this was no misunderstanding. This was not confusion. This was years of silence, trust, and sacrifice. And money that disappeared while the woman it was meant for learned how to survive without it. Kwame was the first to speak, but his voice was no longer steady. "Let's not jump to conclusions," he said, forcing a small laugh that fooled no one. "You know how banks are. Delays happen. Sometimes money gets held up. It's probably just a misunderstanding." No one responded. The silence pressed against him, waiting. He cleared his throat and tried again. "Maybe the money went into a different account. Or maybe the trust people made a mistake with the paperwork. These things are complicated." He spoke faster now, like speed could make his words sound true. Kojo didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply reached into his pocket and took out his phone. That calm movement made the room even more tense. He tapped the screen slowly, scrolling, his face unreadable. "These are the records," Kojo said at last, turning the phone so everyone could see. "Every month, same date, same amount, $8,000. He swiped again. "Here are the withdrawals. No delays. No missing months." Kwame leaned forward, squinting at the screen. "That doesn't prove anything," he said quickly. "You don't know how internal transfers work." Kojo nodded. "You're right," he said quietly. "That's why I checked more." He tapped again. "This shows the destination account. And this," he paused, then continued, "shows who has signing authority." The room felt like it had stopped breathing. Mama Abina watched the two of them, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She didn't understand all the numbers, but she understood the tone. She understood that her son was being cornered by facts, not accusations. Kwame shifted in his seat. "I was holding the money for her," he said suddenly. "For emergencies. For the future. She's old. What if she wasted it? I was protecting her." Kojo looked at him for a long moment. "Protecting her from what?" he asked softly. "Eating well. Living comfortably. Fixing her roof when it leaks." That question hung in the air. Someone at the table looked away. Another person slowly put their napkin down. The truth was becoming too clear. Kwame's voice dropped. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under," he said. "Everyone expects me to handle everything." Kojo shook his head. "Handling something doesn't mean owning it," he replied. "That money was never yours." Mama Abina finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Kwame," she said, "if you were keeping it safe, why did I still go hungry?" Kwame opened his mouth, then closed it again. For the first time that night he had no answer. The room was thick with tension now. The lies that once sounded smooth were breaking apart, piece by piece. And everyone at that table could see it. The numbers didn't shout, they didn't insult, they simply told the truth. Sai had been quiet for most of the night, shifting in her seat, her eyes moving from face to face. The tension in the room made her uncomfortable. She didn't like silence. She especially didn't like being watched. Finally, she let out a nervous laugh, trying to lighten the mood. "This is getting too serious," she said. "Let's all calm down. It's not like the money was wasted or something." She smiled, as if that would fix everything. Everyone looked at her. She kept talking, not realizing she was stepping deeper into trouble. "I mean, Kwame works hard," she said quickly. "Life is expensive. The kids' schools, the house, travel. You know how it is." She waved her hand casually. "And those trips abroad weren't cheap either." Kojo's head lifted. "Trips abroad?" he asked. Sai froze for half a second, then laughed again. "Oh, you know," she said. "The Dubai trip last year. London before that. Just normal family vacations." A shrug. "Mama Abina would want us to enjoy life, right?" The room went cold. Mama Abina slowly turned her head toward ESI. "Trips?" she asked softly. "To other countries." As I nodded, still not understanding the damage she was doing. Yes, Mama. We don't travel all the time, but when we do, we try to do it properly. Good hotels, shopping, life is short. Mama Abina felt something break inside her. She remembered the days she sat in her small house, counting coins. The nights she went to bed with only tea in her stomach, the roof that leaked, the slippers worn thin. And now she was hearing about luxury hotels and shopping in foreign countries. Kojo's voice was tight. And the shopping, he asked. As I smiled, a little proud now. Oh, that's mostly handbags and jewelry, she said. Quality things last longer. Then she added, Kwame said the money was handled, so I never asked questions. Mama Abina lowered her eyes. She didn't cry. That pain was deeper than tears. She realized her silence, her patience, her sacrifices had paid for someone else's comfort. Her hunger had bought plane tickets. Her cold nights had paid for warm hotel beds. This whole time, she whispered, I thought my son was struggling. No one spoke. The betrayal hurt more than the poverty ever did. Poverty she understood. Poverty she could endure. But this was trust being turned into luxury for others. Mama Abina sat very still, her heart heavy, realizing that her love had been used, and that truth was far more painful than any empty stomach. Kojo didn't argue anymore. He didn't raise his voice or accuse anyone. He simply picked up his phone again. This time he didn't look angry. He looked tired. Tired of excuses. Tired of half-truths. I think it's best we hear this from someone neutral, he said quietly. Then he pressed a name on his screen and put the phone on speaker. The ringing sound felt loud in the silent room. After 2 rings, a calm voice answered. Hello, this is Mr. Owusu. Good evening, sir, Kojo said. This is Kojo Mensah. You're the family lawyer who handled my grandmother's trust fund. Yes, I remember, the lawyer replied. How can I help? Kojo took a breath. Can you please explain clearly the status of the trust meant for Mama Abina? Has the money been released as planned? There was a short pause. Papers rustled on the other end. Yes, the lawyer said. The trust was active. $8,000 was released monthly, without interruption for several years. Mama Abina closed her eyes. And who received the money? Kojo asked, his voice steady. Another pause. This one felt longer. According to our records, the lawyer said carefully, the funds were withdrawn by Kwame Mensah. He had full access and signing authority. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the air seemed to stop. Kwame stared at the table, his shoulders slumping. He didn't interrupt. He didn't deny it. His silence said more than any words could. The lawyer continued, unaware of the faces in the room. Everything was legal on paper. The withdrawals were approved and documented. But the beneficiary listed was Mama Abina. Kojo swallowed hard. Thank you, he said. That's all I needed. He ended the call. The phone screen went dark, but the truth stayed bright and painful. Mama Abina opened her eyes slowly. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Her hands rested quietly on her lap, like she was holding herself together. No one defended Kwame. Not his wife. Not a single family member. There was nothing left to say. Every excuse had collapsed. Every lie had been stripped away by simple facts spoken in a calm voice. Mama Abina looked at her son for a long moment. Then she looked away. That silence was louder than any argument. It wasn't angry. It wasn't dramatic. It was final. In that quiet room, everyone understood one thing clearly. The truth had arrived, and there was no place left for Kwame to hide. Mama Abina sat there quietly while the room stayed silent. Her mind wasn't in that dining room anymore. It had gone back many years, to a time when Kwame was just a small boy clinging to her wrapper. She remembered carrying him on her back while selling goods under the hot sun. She remembered coming home tired, feet aching, but still smiling because her child was fed. She remembered the night his father died, how the world suddenly became heavy, how she had to become strong overnight. No one helped her. There was no safety net, just her hands, her faith, and her love for her son. She chose Kwame every day, even when choosing him meant choosing hunger for herself. As he grew, she protected him from shame, from fear, from lack. If food was not enough, she ate less. If money was short, she went without. She told herself this is what love looks like. And when he succeeded, even a little, she felt rich. Mama Abina believed respect meant silence. It meant not asking questions. It meant trusting your child completely. When Kwame spoke strongly, she stayed quiet. When he said, "I will handle it," she stepped back. She thought that was how a good mother behaved. Now she saw the truth clearly. Love had blinded her. Not because she was weak, but because she was loyal. She gave him trust the way she once gave him food, freely without counting the cost. Slowly, Mama Abina pushed her chair back and stood up. The movement was small, but it made everyone look at her. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't shake with anger. She stood with the calm dignity of a woman who had survived too much to fall apart now. "I raised you with respect," she said softly. "I taught you to protect family, not use it." Her voice broke for just a second, then steadied again. "I never asked you for comfort. I only asked you for truth." Kwame's eyes filled with tears, but Mama Abina did not reach for him. That hurt was too deep. She straightened her shoulders. "I can forgive poverty," she said. "I lived with it for years. But I cannot forgive betrayal done in silence." Her heart was broken, yes. But she was not weak. In that moment, Mama Abina understood something important. Dignity does not come from money or children. Comes from knowing your worth, even when the people you loved most failed to see it. Kojo stood up slowly. His hands were shaking, but his voice was clear. This wasn't anger speaking now. It was responsibility. He looked around the table once, then fixed his eyes on his father. "I've already taken steps," Kojo said quietly. "All the accounts connected to the trust are frozen. And this morning I filed a fraud report." The words landed like stones. Kwame's head snapped up. "What?" he whispered. Then louder, "Kojo, please. You didn't have to do that." His voice cracked. The strong man everyone feared was suddenly panicking. "We are family. We can fix this privately." Kojo shook his head. "This was never private," he said. "It was theft, and it went on for years." Kwame stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the floor. "I did it for the family," he shouted, then broke down mid-sentence. His shoulders collapsed. Tears came. "I was under pressure. I didn't mean for it to go this far." He turned to Mama Abina and fell to his knees beside her chair. "Ma, forgive me," he begged. "Please, I'm your son. I'll return everything. I swear." Mama Abina looked down at him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were tired. She had cried all her tears long before this moment. She didn't shout. She didn't curse him. She didn't raise her hand. She simply stood up. Kwame reached for her wrapper, his hands trembling. "Ma, don't do this," he cried. "Please talk to him. Tell him to stop." Mama Abina gently moved his hands away. She didn't look at him again. That silence hurt more than any slap ever could. Kojo watched, his chest heavy. This was his father. But this was also his grandmother. And one truth mattered more than blood: justice. "The law will handle the rest," Kojo said softly. "Mama deserves peace, not apologies made too late." Kwame's cries filled the room, but no one moved to help him. The damage was done. Begging could not undo years of lies. Mama Abina walked toward the door, her steps slow but steady. She didn't look back. Turning away wasn't cruelty. It was self-respect. For the first time, Kojo understood that choosing justice doesn't mean you stop loving someone. Means you stop protecting their wrongs. Mama Abina opened the door to her new home and stepped inside. Sunlight poured through the windows, touching the warm wooden floors. The sea was just beyond the garden, its gentle waves rolling softly, carrying a calmness she hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long time, she breathed without holding herself back. The house was simple, but it was hers. Everything had been set up directly from the trust, bypassing anyone who had once turned her sacrifices into their luxury. She ran her fingers over the kitchen counter, the smooth surface feeling strange and new under her hands. There was no fear here, no hidden agendas, no whispers of betrayal. She walked slowly to the window and looked at the horizon. The wind lifted her hair, and for a moment she closed her eyes. She smiled, not because of the money, not because of the walls or the furniture. She smiled because she had chosen herself, because she had finally spoken without fear and acted without guilt, because silence no longer protected betrayal. Her mind drifted back to the years she had endured, the long days, the cold nights, the meals she skipped, all for a family that had taken her trust for granted. And yet here she was, still standing, still strong, still capable of joy. That realization made the smile on her face wider, freer. Kojo had promised he would make sure she lived comfortably, and he had kept that promise. But it wasn't him who made her feel whole. It was her own courage, her own dignity. She had faced lies, betrayal, and years of quiet suffering, and she had come out the other side. Mama Abina walked through the home, opening doors, touching walls, and finally stepping outside onto the small terrace that overlooked the sea. She let the breeze wash over her, and for the first time she felt completely at peace. The past still lived in memory, but it no longer had power over her. She was free. She was respected, and for the first time in decades, she belonged fully to herself.